Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Biyas. Today we are going to do a 24 hours reading vlog and today we are going to be accompanied by my sister Titash. And we are going to read two different books for 24 hours long and we will try to finish it by the time. Here's my sister. Hi, Titash. So what are we going to read today?
As you know, I am going to read this one. The Wisteria Society of Ladies Scoundrels, the India Olympics first book.
The one that I bought actually.
Yes, but I am going to read it.
Okay. What book you are going to read? So I'm reading If We Were Villains by M.L. Leo and I don't have the physical copy mainly because the cover is so gross. So we are going to read
Cover is
it.
actually good.
No, it's not. So I am going to read the ebook version.
Why did you decide to read this one?
Mainly because I saw one of my favorite booktubers suggesting that this is her kind of favorite book, and also it has a LGBTQ theme, I think, and it's a thriller, and I think it will be perfect for June. That's why. So I don't know mostly anything what it's about, but other than that, there is 7 theater students, and they got into some petty rivalry about the role they are getting in a new play, and then one of them got murdered and one of them is accused, but all of them are the suspect, and that's it. I think I don't know anything else what it's actually about. And why are you choosing that one?
Okay. This book is, first of all, the name of this book is very interesting. And I have read a review of this book in bookstagram, and they said this book is Princess Bride.
Right.
They said this book is Princess Bride meets Wuthering Heights, and that sounds enough for me to choose this book at firstly. And then this book is based on Victorian era, as far as I know, and also there is a pirate, there is an assassin who is probably trying to murder the pirate, and he is also the main love interest of this book. So sounds very filmy, as I want to say. So, do you think you can finish this book in 24 hours?
So this book is not that long, so it's quite in my range. The ebook is 366 pages long, which I think I can manage in 24 hours.
This book is 324 pages long, so to be honest, I have zero confidence on me that I can finish it in 24 hours. Because I got distracted very easily, very easily. But this book has all my favorite tropes, like, Victorian era, also magical realism, there is piracy. So hopefully I can finish it in 24 hours.
Right now it's 3:24, almost 3:25. So we are going to finish the reading by tomorrow at around this time, or maybe sometimes after. Doesn't matter. We are going to continue giving updates about how we are enjoying the books and if we are enjoying the books and everything, like reading progress. Okay, so let's go.
So I have read till kind of the middle of the book, which is Act 3, Scene 4. The whole book is divided into acts, and then it's like the part 1, part 2, and then there is the chapter names are Scene 1, Scene 2, like that. So it's quite big, honestly. There are 4 acts, and the longest act is Act 3, which is 18 scenes, or we can say 18 chapters. This is on page 177. So till now, we got a murder victim. So there are, as I've told you before, there are this 7 female students, and one of them is finally murdered after a lot of violent rivalry among them. But till now, to me, there are no actual reason to murder him. Like, nobody has that kind of motive. But I think later in the story we will find some motive. And I have my suspicion on one of them who can be the murderer. But maybe it was too obvious, so maybe he's not. And it was just a distraction, or maybe there are more than one murderer. I don't know. And till now the story is interesting. I mean, I'm reading it and it's very fast paced, but we don't know where this is actually going. And it started with a protagonist who is in jail and finally he got out of there. He's in jail for the murder of the said friend of hers. So, but we all know that he is not the murderer. He is there for someone else's guilt. I don't know who is that, but I can only presume. I'm not gonna say it. But let's see if the character I'm assuming is the culprit, then I'll tell you what happened. Let's read some more.
Oh, that's good.
You weren't there.
It wasn't clear. I'm in this curse too. Please, just stop pushing me away. Tell me.
I'm trying to be strong, okay? I can't go there. I can't let those feelings in right now.
Hey, George, got your text.
So, so, 演目は
大丈夫？
相当派手に転ぶことが多い人間だけど、その分起き上がるのもむちゃくちゃ得意なんだから。
Hi, I'm here to share my reading progress. So it's 6 o'clock almost, and in these last few hours, I have finished the first 7 chapters of this book, and I am loving this book by far. So I have some expectation from this book, and on first 7 chapters, it's like I can gather the information that this book is something else, and I'm loving it. The work in this book is like beyond our imagination, and I really never read something like this. Okay, so this may be going to be little spoilers here because I'm going to talk about this book. I mean, the first 7 chapters I have read about. We have met Cecilia, our heroine, at the first. She lives with her great aunt, Miss Darlington. Cecilia is trained to be a pirate since her childhood, and she loves to read poetry and also obsessed with Emily Bronte. And we have also met Nate. Nate probably going to be our Cecilia's love interest. And at the first few chapters, we gather the information that someone is employed Nate to kill Cecilia. So there's going to be a enemies to lover vibe. But this book is not exactly that serious that there's going to be a serious enemy to lover. There's going to be something like silly conversation or I'd say bonkers. And then I hope there will be romance. India Halton's writing is very quirky. Like all the characters I have met till now are very quirky and very unique from each other. And the writing style, I'd say the humor of this book is really very unique. Like almost every humor is based on this thing that we are talking about a secret society of pirates, or let me tell more specifically, some lady pirates. They are pirate. They are literally robbing banks and killing people. Also, like there's theft and robbery, and also they are full of etiquettes. They are drinking tea and sitting on their very posh living room and reading poetry. So whole, I'd say, contrast of the same thing is making this book humorous, and I'm loving the concept till now. And let me tell you one thing, this book is based on magical realism, everyone knows about it. But the thing is, there is something which surprises me the most. There's a mention of flying houses. Like when I first read about it, I was like, what? Flying houses? But then it started to giving me Hall's Moving Castle vibes. Because like, that movie is based on Second World War time. It's Victorian era, not exactly the same time, but yeah, giving me the same vibe. So, and well, let me mention one very cool thing about this book, that every chapter of this book has a very unique name, or I'd like to say a small description about what's going to happen in the chapter. And that names are so funny, I'd say. Like let me read one. Like this is the name of the 7th chapter. Tea, the accoutrements of a strolling lady, an exotic recipe, Mary Shelley's example, Miss Brown's observations, a skirmish mock, a great peril, Cecilia seeks direction, a skirmish real, calamity.
A few moments later.
Hey, I'm here to share my reading progress. So I have finished first 11 chapter of this book and I'm calling it a night for today. I'm going to continue tomorrow. So in these chapters already a lot of thing happens, like I get to read some cool action parts and I love action. So and as it is a books with pirate characters, I always looking forward to read more cool actions in next chapters. And I also going to share that I know it's going to be a spoiler probably, but I was expecting a slow enemies to lover romance here, but it's not going to be a slow one. And I'm all up for not having a slow one or a fast forward romance. But I'm going to say there's a two part where I was like, why it is in this book? Like, there's a part where Ned is like daydreaming about Cecilia that in future he wants to have a cottage and Cecilia will be there in kitchen asking him for supper. Like, why? Like, you are daydreaming about a girl who is a pirate. Probably she is raised to be a pirate, and you are dreaming about her that she will be in kitchen. Like, come on, she deserves better. You could dreaming about something cool like robbing a bank together or something. Like, not in kitchen. Like, no, that's a trigger word. And also there's this part, like there's a character Constantinople. She is 16 and she lies about her age to the man he probably having sex with, and now that man is freaking out because she is underage, and that part is so much like comedic way it's written in this book. I do not like that part, I'm sure. Like, I mean, it's not something you could like make fun of, right? So let's see. But other than that, I'm loving this book by far. I'm all hopeful for finishing this book in 24 hours. Let's see what happens.
So I finished the book, and I finished it before 24 hours, which is great. But it was really different from what I thought it would be. I think I have misinterpreted the first half of the book, like I said. It's not like it was boring or anything. The writing style is very fluent, and it's, as I said before, it's quite page turning and all. But it's not boring. It's just it's really hard to explain what the book is about and what is actually going on at the middle of the book, because there's not much of a plot. But I mean, there is a plot, but it's not full of twists and turns like I thought it would be. It's a psychological thriller rather than a very action-packed one, which I thought it would be. So it's mostly how the characters are coping and how they're dealing with their life after the tragedy involving their friend. And they're all actors or all theatre students, so they're very emotional and they feel things way more than most of other characters in other books, in other thrillers precisely. So some of them became very unhinged, some of them chose to do drugs and then almost risk their life. They're having mental breakdowns, and
just how they're coping with it. Also, the plot is kind of, you can feel it because it's going to the climax. And in between, we are getting to continuously be remembered that it's all happened years ago. It's all happening in the flashback. Our protagonist is telling years later when he's out of jail. So we all know how it's going to be played out, but we all know what we don't know is that what happened that night of the tragedy. So later we get to know, and it's the same that I assume who the culprit is, and he is the culprit. I think it's, anybody could have guessed that. It's very not very subtle, but it's the ending was still quite shocking because I have not assumed the way things have gone to be like that, and also the whole epilogue was mind blowing. It is quite good. It had a kind of open ending, and also it's quite sad too. I really like the whole vibe of the book. Like, it's totally dark academia, and it's not that, it doesn't have any good wholesome vibe. It's very just quite dark and upsetting vibe, and obviously the ending was not happy ending if you want, but it's not that bad either. Just as I said, it's quite open ending. If you read it, you understand what I'm talking about. It's not as I like the characters so much because we are seeing so many variations of them, but they're interesting characters that you would want to know more about. So there's that. And it's very complicated, first of all. It's quite hard to judge this book based on anything. It's very complicated. The characters are complicated, the plot is complicated, everything around is quite complicated. And as everything in this book is, spiraling around theater and Shakespeare, so there's quite a lot of references, a lot of sexual references, like in every line of every chapter there is. So it's not that I'm familiar with them, but it's enjoyable. I like reading that. Yeah, it's not that book is going to be that much impactful or memorable for me, and I'm not going to read it anytime soon, but I'll probably recommend it to people and those who are into dark academia and psychological thriller. It's and it's remarkable, and the characters will be memorable to me because I haven't read a lot of books where the setup is based on theater, except some really wholesome ones. It's kind of a spoiler, but the main why in the book is not why the killer killed the murder victim. It's why our protagonist knows the truth about who killed his friend and still took the blame on himself. That is the main reason. That is the why everyone was asking at the beginning and from the whole of the book, which we would interpret, or maybe I would interpret that it's the reason behind the murder, but it's actually not, because the reason behind the murder is quite obvious. You would understand why it's revealed. So and that's the most complicated part, the relationship between them and why he did what he did and like that. And it's not really, it's not really explanation behind it. It's just his choice, and he feels like it. That's why he did it, kind of thing. And I think that explains it quite a lot. Not every time you would have an explanation that would be like, it's very satisfying. Not every time you're going to get that. So it's quite realistic on that sense. It's not very fictional. And some other parts of God, it's quite fictional. So I like that, duality of the book. This book was a really good read for me. And I haven't read a thriller in a long time. I have been very much immersed in romance and rom-coms recently. And it's not really my go-to genre, so it was, I'm really backing from after reading another thriller. And I'm going to read a lot of them soon.
Okay, so finally I have finished this book. Round of for me. So first time coming on rating this book, I am going to rate it like 4 out of 5. I really like the writing style. This is very unique and the cool, and also like the idea and the plot is very original, I have to say. I like it. I don't like the lack of action in this book. That is one thing, because in the cover it's mentioned that Bridgerton meets Peaky Blinders, but what is the Peaky Blinders part? there are action, but those are like super light-hearted and too much comedic, so it's don't count as really an action part. I was expecting more, like, so I am kind of disappointed on that part. Also, like, we have a hero, we have a heroine, but you know who steals the show? Queen Victoria. Yeah, that's a spoiler, but I mean, she came out of nowhere and steals the show. But I just want to ask why we are literally bringing her in this book. I mean, it's literally get very abstract towards the end. But also, I am giving it 4-star, not 3-star, because the ending part was really dramatic, and also like our girl Cecilia get to live the life every reader's dream to live, like living in a library. It's also a spoiler, but that part I really liked. So yeah, 4-star for that. And though I didn't able to finish this book in 24 hours, but it's still a progress. I finished it like in less time than most of the book I finished. So yeah, and I am glad I took this challenge. I'm probably going to read the next 2 books of this series. Thank you.
Blue bus is